The silence in Cleveland was louder than any answer, because when Todd Monken stepped up to that podium and refused to name a starting quarterback, everything changed in a single moment. Not just for the Browns, not just for the fans, but for Shedeur Sanders, who suddenly found himself standing at the center of the most uncomfortable and fascinating quarterback battle in the NFL. This is not just about depth charts or press conferences. This is about control, belief, and a franchise that has spent decades searching for stability under center. And somewhere inside that silence, a warning was delivered to every quarterback in that room without a single name ever being spoken. Todd Monken did not raise his voice. He did not stir controversy with a hot take. He simply chose uncertainty. And in today's NFL, uncertainty is power. The former Ravens offensive coordinator arrived in Cleveland with expectations already stacked against him. The Browns were coming off a down season in the AFC North, an offense that never truly found its rhythm, and a quarterback situation that felt more fragile than ever. When Monken was asked the question everyone was waiting for, "Who is your starting quarterback?" he didn't blink. He didn't hesitate. He refused to give an answer. And in that moment, he told the entire league exactly how he plans to run this team. For Shedeur Sanders, that answer was not an insult. It was a challenge. And his response revealed far more than frustration or fear. It revealed a mindset that might define his entire NFL future. When Sanders later spoke with Kay Adams, his words were calm, deliberate, and quietly intense. He didn't demand respect. He didn't claim anything was owed to him. He said something far more dangerous to the competition. He said, "That's what's expected." That single sentence told you everything about how Shedeur Sanders sees himself, his role, and his path forward in Cleveland. This quarterback room is not empty. It is crowded. The Browns are staring at a 2026 roster that could include Shedeur Sanders, Dillon Gabriel, Deshaun Watson, and potentially even more names added through the offseason. Every rep matters. Every throw is being watched. Every mistake will be magnified. And Todd Monken is not interested in making anyone comfortable. He is interested in building something that lasts. By refusing to name a starter, he created an environment where complacency goes to die. And Shedeur Sanders knows exactly what that means. Sanders understands the weight of expectations better than most young quarterbacks. He has lived under a microscope long before he ever put on a Browns helmet. Every throw, every stat line, every decision has been dissected. In 8 games, Sanders completed 120 of 212 passes for 1,400 yards. 7 touchdowns. 10 interceptions. Those numbers tell one story. But they do not tell the whole story. They do not capture the pressure, the adjustments, or the learning curve of a quarterback finding his footing at the highest level of the sport. And they definitely do not define what he believes he can become. When Sanders spoke about proving himself, he wasn't just talking about earning a starting job. He was talking about something deeper, proving it to everybody and to himself. That distinction matters, because quarterbacks who only play to silence critics eventually fold. Quarterbacks who play to satisfy their own internal standard tend to survive. Sanders described his process in terms of goals, small goals that stack into long-term success. He talked about hitting landmarks, focusing in depth, and controlling what he can control. That language is not accidental. That is the language of someone who understands that the NFL is not won in press conferences. It is won in repetition, discipline, and resilience. Todd Monken understands that too. His reputation was not built on flashy quotes or safe decisions. In Baltimore, he was known for structure, adaptability, and an ability to extract efficiency from chaos. Cleveland hired him to bring a spark, yes, but also to bring clarity. Ironically, his refusal to name a quarterback created more confusion on the surface, while laying the foundation for clarity underneath. He wants competition. He wants accountability. And most of all, he wants the right quarterback, not the most convenient one. Deshaun Watson's presence complicates everything. His name alone carries weight, expectations, and controversy. Dillon Gabriel represents another layer of intrigue, a quarterback hungry for opportunity, waiting for the door to crack open. And then there is Shedeur Sanders, caught between potential and proof. Monken's decision forces all three to exist in the same uncomfortable space. Nobody gets to relax. Nobody gets to coast. And nobody gets to hide behind past accomplishments. What makes Sanders' reaction so compelling is not what he said, but what he didn't say. He did not express disappointment. He did not lobby for reassurance. He did not frame himself as a victim of uncertainty. Instead, he embraced it. He treated Monken's stance as a standard, not a slight. That mentality is rare, especially in a league where confidence often borders on entitlement. Sanders' approach suggests that he understands something many quarterbacks never do. Jobs are not given. They are taken. The Browns have been here before. They have cycled through quarterbacks, coaches, systems, and philosophies at a dizzying pace. Every new regime promises change. Every new quarterback arrives with hope. And every unanswered question eventually becomes a referendum on leadership. Todd Monken knows that naming a starter too early can create fractures before the foundation is set. By delaying that decision, he forces the quarterbacks to reveal who they are when certainty is removed. For Sanders, this moment could become a turning point. His stat line from last season will be cited by critics who question his readiness. 7 touchdowns against 10 interceptions is not the ratio that inspires blind confidence. But numbers without context are dangerous. They ignore growth, adjustments, and the reality of development. Sanders is not hiding from those numbers. He is using them as fuel. When he talks about small goals, he is talking about footwork, reads, timing, and decision-making. He is talking about mastery, not flash. The AFC North is unforgiving. Defenses do not wait for you to figure it out. Mistakes are punished quickly and often brutally. Monken's offense is expected to inject life into a unit that struggled to keep pace. But no scheme can save a quarterback who is not prepared. That is why this competition matters. That is why the silence matters. And that is why Sanders' reaction matters more than any headline. Kay Adams gave Sanders a platform to speak directly to fans, and he used it wisely. He framed the situation as an opportunity to grow, not a threat to his status. He spoke about control, about focusing on what he can influence. That mindset aligns perfectly with what Monken appears to be building. A team where accountability is internal before it is external. Where preparation is valued over reputation. Where the best player plays, regardless of name or contract. There is a reveal coming later in this story, and it has nothing to do with a depth chart announcement. The real reveal will come when the pressure intensifies. When training camp arrives. When reps are limited. When mistakes are magnified. That is when we will see which quarterback truly understands what Monken is asking. And that is when Sanders' words will be tested against reality. Cleveland fans have every right to be anxious. They have seen promises come and go. They have heard optimism before. But this situation feels different because of how it is being handled. Monken is not selling hope. He is demanding effort. Sanders is not asking for patience. He is promising work. That combination has the potential to reshape a franchise that has been searching for an identity. The quarterback battle is not just about who starts week 1. It is about who leads, who adapts, and who earns trust. Sanders knows that trust is built slowly and lost instantly. His focus on daily improvement suggests that he is playing the long game. He understands that one press conference does not define a season, and one season does not define a career. As this offseason unfolds, more names may enter the conversation. More speculation will follow. Analysts will debate arm strength, decision-making, and upside. But inside that Browns facility, the calculus is simpler. Who shows up prepared? Who responds to coaching? Who protects the football? Who commands the huddle? Those answers will not be found in interviews. They will be found on the field. Todd Monken's refusal to name a starter was not indecision. It was intention. And Shedeur Sanders' response shows that he understands the message. This is a meritocracy now. Every throw matters. Every rep is a referendum. And nothing will be handed out based on hype or history. So here is the question that will define this entire situation, and it is one only you can answer in the comments. If you are Todd Monken, watching this quarterback room every single day, do you reward past potential, or do you ride with the quarterback who proves, step by step, that he can handle the pressure of being the face of the Cleveland Browns? What makes this quarterback battle even more volatile is timing. This is not a rebuilding year where patience is guaranteed. The Browns are operating in a division where every week feels like survival, where Baltimore, Pittsburgh, and Cincinnati will punish hesitation instantly. Todd Monken knows that whatever decision he makes will define his first chapter in Cleveland. Name the wrong quarterback too early, and you lose the locker room. Wait too long, and you risk chaos. That tightrope is exactly where he wants his quarterbacks living, because pressure reveals truth faster than any playbook ever could. For Shedeur Sanders, this moment is about identity. He is no longer the prospect people projected, debated, or argued over. He is a professional quarterback fighting for legitimacy in one of the toughest environments football has to offer. His interceptions last season will be replayed. His misses will be remembered. But so will how he responds when the margin for error shrinks. Sanders understands that reputation in the NFL is not built on talent alone. It is built on response. How you respond after a bad drive. How you respond after getting benched. How you respond when the coach refuses to give you reassurance. The quiet confidence Sanders displayed wasn't accidental. It was intentional. By framing this as an expectation rather than a setback, he removed the emotional leverage from the situation. He put the focus back where Monken wants it, on work, accountability, and growth. That alignment between coach and quarterback philosophy could end up mattering more than arm strength or draft position. Systems thrive when belief and behavior match. And right now, Sanders is speaking the language Monken wants echoed throughout the building. This also sends a message to the rest of the roster. Veterans notice how young quarterbacks handle adversity. They notice who owns mistakes and who deflects them. They notice who stays late, who studies extra film, who commands respect without demanding it. Sanders knows that earning the huddle matters as much as earning the starting job. Because even if he wins the competition on paper, leadership must be validated every single Sunday. The Browns' offense needs more than efficiency. It needs conviction. Last season's struggles were not just about play design. They were about rhythm, trust, and execution under pressure. Monken's arrival signals a reset, but resets are fragile. They require buy-in. They require discipline. And they require a quarterback who embraces uncertainty rather than fearing it. Sanders' response suggests he may be more prepared for that burden than people realize. As training camp approaches, the spotlight will only intensify. Every throw in practice will be dissected. Every quote will be analyzed. But the real battle will happen when the cameras are gone. In meeting rooms. In walkthroughs. In moments where preparation meets opportunity. That is where starters are truly chosen. Not by announcements, but by consistency. So as the Browns stand at this crossroads, remember this. Quarterback competitions don't just decide who starts. They decide who leads. And right now, Shedeur Sanders isn't asking for permission. He's preparing for the moment when opportunity finally knocks, knowing that when it does, excuses won't matter, only answers.